Friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in this video I'm going to be working on my next two layouts using the Teach Story Kit from Ali Edwards for Story Kit Crush. So jumping right into this first project, this one is going to go inside of my Pocket Page notebook, which is a traveler's notebook sized album that has pockets in between the regular paper. So for this one, I took a quote card that said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. And this was a jumping off point for the story that I wanted to write in this layout, which is one that I'm not going to share. It's mostly just kind of doing some therapeutic writing about some stressful situations in the school system here. So just talking a little bit about that and getting some frustration out on paper. So I took that quote and I chopped it down into word strips and then added that into the white space area of my photo. The photo I chose to print at the full page size is one of Izzy and I walking down the sidewalk hand in hand in a picture that my husband took of us. It's definitely one of my favorites that he's taken of us in a long time, just because it was so candid. And then on the right-hand side, where you can see that full page of brain dump journaling there, to this page, I'm going to add some strips of the pattern paper. This pattern paper, I think, says the word teach over and over again. I actually don't remember what it says, but I cut it down and then just added a strip of it to the top and a strip to the bottom of my journaling. I like how that creates some end caps for my writing and makes it feel not as overwhelming to the eye. Then for the pocket in between the two pages, I had this idea to take the plastic labels that came in the Teach Story Kit and turn them into frames. So I have this kit digitally, and I took the digital labels and grabbed the middle section of all of the labels with my selection tool and created a layer with that. Then I was able to take some photos and clip the photos into that layer so I could print them at exactly the right size. That made this a whole lot easier for me, but you also could just print them small and then create a template and cut them out like that. So I printed them out for 3 of the labels. There's one that is longer but skinnier, and then there's one that's kind of like a more medium size but a little bit taller, and then a small one that will go at the top. So it's going to have almost a tree effect, I suppose, or a triangle effect as we go down the page with your eye. To keep them in this little pocket where I want them to go, I'm just going to take my tiny attacher and staple them on the side through all of the plastic. And then that's going to hold this exactly where I want it to be. I don't have to worry about them falling out or out of place. And it also allows me to be very precise about where these are going to line up in regards to my photo and my journaling. So that's what we'll do here, is just get those in the pocket and stapled inside. I also printed photos for both sides of this. So when it flips, there are 3 additional photos on the back. I went ahead and adhered both sides of this layout into my notebook and then called this spread done. Now we're going to move on to my 5th and final project for this month's Story Kit Crush series. For this one, I wanted to use the pleather circle that says Inspire to talk about teaching some scrapbooking classes and being inspired by the community to keep telling stories. That's pretty much what I wrote about there. That story I am sharing. I'm not going to read it off in this video, just to save some time, but I will share close-ups of it on Instagram and at the end of this video if you want to pause it and read what I wrote. So what I did in Photoshop is I created myself a template, which you can see there with all those little gray squares. And then I cut my photos, or I printed my photos down to that same size, cut them out, and I'm going to just glue them on top of that page. That goes on top of my journaling, which I created a flip out with. So I printed it double the width, but not quite all the way up to the top of the page. because what I'm going to do is create this background paper with the stamp set, and then we will adhere the flip out portion on top of this background paper. And then when it goes inside of the album, the background paper will stay put, and then you can open up a portion of it to read the journal. And you'll see a little bit more of that as we get to the end here. So for the background paper, I need to add some stamping up at the top. So I'm just doing some repeat stamping with my Teach Story stamp. This one says something about, well, obviously teach. While we teach, we learn. That's what it is. And that also goes into the story that I'm telling with this one too, because in teaching scrapbooking, I have learned a lot about myself, about the community, about the craft, and everything that goes with it. So that just seemed really appropriate for the story that I was telling. So I've trimmed that down to a 3x8 page size. And then here's where I'm going to take this flip out portion, add some adhesive to the back of it. I'm using score tape for an extra strong hold. And then I'm going to stick that down at the bottom and then put my Inspire title up at the top. I have these strips from Citrus Twist that allow you to stick a plastic piece on the back side of your page, and it already has some pre-punched holes. So this is going to let me put this in my album and give it a home there without it interfering with anything else. So here's where you can see how this ends. I will end up putting a tab on the side there so that you know it opens. All right, friends, well, that's going to be it for today. 2 really, really quick spreads to finish out StoryKit Crush Teach for the month of October. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I would love a thumbs up down below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my future crafty videos. I will be back next month with the next kit in the StoryKit Crush series, which is the Care Story Kit. So hopefully I'll see you then. Till then, have a great weekend, friends. See you in the next video. Bye now.